Hello everybody, this is Gypsy Spirit here with you, ready to give you your reading for July 7th through the 13th. And we are still in new moon. However, we are now working into Mercury retrograde, which really sucks. It's not supposed to start, I think, until the 8th. But I swear to God, I think it started with me a week early because last Monday, my new puppy, whom I've only had for 5 months, chewed up my glasses, much I have to have so I can see to drive. I just had a complete meltdown. And so it just really fucked up my week. So I'm driving around with glasses that are all, scratches and everything on them, but it's all that I can do to see. And I did go get new glasses, but you have to wait a week or so before those glasses come in. So there's a blessing because I do have insurance, and it was so funny because it happened the very last week that I was still on the payroll of the job that I just quit. So if it was going to happen, I guess it needed to happen then. So there's a blessing. So that the insurance would pay for it, but I still paid out of pocket. And we'll get the money later on. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with your reading. You have a Six of Cups. We have a Six of Cups in reverse. And I think we had this card last week or the week before where it was upright. We also have the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. But you also have a Three of Wands, okay? So I try to move this over so the light doesn't reflect on it. Anyway, the Six of Cups. So here's the deal. For some of you, you may have heard from an ex-boyfriend or a girlfriend or an ex of somewhere along the line, or even like a memory or something from your past came up and you had that aha moment. So for those of you who had encounters with your exes, either they called you or you reached out to them, whatever, it doesn't matter. You saw the light. You were like, oh yeah, I remember now why we split up. And so you're taking whatever lesson you learned from that experience and you're moving on. And it's a good time because, like I said, we're in Mercury retrograde or getting ready to go into it. And it's going to give, during this next 2 weeks, during the retrograde, you're going to have a little time where you're going to be able to reflect on that lesson that you learned and began to apply it to your life today. And I could sit and tell you so many things about my ex-boyfriend, all the things that he did wrong and how he hurt me and so forth and so on. And for some of you, I have told you. But the bottom line is I am so grateful for what I had to go through, even though it was very, very painful. It totally sucked. But wow, so many lessons that I got from that and the growth, the actual, like, I almost felt like I had wings on flying high up in the air from the growth that I got from it. So I see many of you that are going to be experiencing this same sort of thing. And actually, I have clients now who are coming to me and they are going through very similar things where they're seeing parts of their past. They're starting to break that connection or break those behaviors and thoughts and starting to cut the cycle so that they can move forward to a higher level. So your next card is the Queen of Pentacles. So, and Pentacles is always about money, but in this case, for some of us, me included, because, I just quit my job, for some of us, there may be some worry about money, or how you're going to make ends meet, or how you're going to be able to pay for certain things or whatever. And when we tend to worry about money or our finances, the struggles, we allow that worry to overtake our true peace, our joy and our peace. So we worry about money, and I mean, the bills are always going to be there. There's always going to be a money problem, I mean, it's either feast or famine with many of us. So, but you're still alive, and you still have a home, and you still have food to eat. And that's how you kind of have to look at it. And I know, like, for myself, I worry about, like, the rent that's due on the 5th. Well, I just paid the rent, but now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I gotta have the money, for the 5th. Well, the 5th is not here, so it's like you have so much time to see the blessings and see the miracles that universe puts in front of you. So it's the same thing. Like, whatever it is you're worried about, stop worrying about it, because allow yourself to feel that peace and that joy in your everyday life, and watch universe, watch the magic, see the miracles that come. And I notice that, like, sometimes when you just feel like it's not going to happen, and you just throw in the towel and give up, that's usually when it happens. I will, like, I always share little stories with you. So, and I did, tell you about the ex-boyfriend a moment ago, but I will tell you a positive story about the ex-boyfriend. So there was a time when something was coming up. There was an event that he did every year that he had to pay. It was a thing that he did, a job, but he had to pay $500 to participate in it every year. And we didn't have $500. And we had to pay the electric bill, and there was a couple of other bills that we had to pay, and we didn't have the $500, and he had to have it by a certain time. And I kept telling him for like 3 weeks, because he had so much doubt. He's like, this is not going to work. We're not going to have the money. And I kept saying, yes, we will. Yes, we will. Just think positive and think, we're going to have the money. Just see it, visualize it. We're going to have this money. And so I was doing, I had clients come into me, and I was bringing in money, helping to pay whatever it was that we needed to pay. And it was the day before he had to pay the $500, and we just didn't have it. We didn't have it. And I didn't know what to do. I mean, this is the time that I was throwing in the towel. And I said, you know what, honey, you're just going to have to call your friend and see if they can give you an extension for another week before we can come up with the $500. And at the same time, as I was, like, cooking, because I had a client coming over for reading, and I was going to spend, so I fixed her a special lunch, because I hadn't seen her in a long time. And so she came over, and we were having lunch, and I told her, and this lady has money. I mean, she has money, she travels and stuff. So we were having dinner or lunch, and I was telling her of the situation, that he didn't have the $500, and we needed to raise that money, because, this money that he was going to raise, the $500, a job that he was going to do, he would make $3,500 out of it. So essentially, he was going to get $3,000 out of this job, and he had to put up $500 for it. So I'm telling this lady about it, and she says to me, so I need a tarot reading for $500. And I said, no, my tarot readings are $85. At the time they were $85. I said, no, I don't charge $500 for a tarot reading. My tarot readings are $85. And she said again, so I need a tarot reading for $500. And I said, and still, I'm not catching on to it. I'm like, no, my readings are $85. I feel honored that you would want to pay me $500 for a tarot reading, but, I'm good, but I'm not that good, I don't think. And she's kind of shook her head. She's, one more time, So I need a tarot reading for $500. And it clicked. I was like, oh, yes, you need a tarot reading. And I'll give you a healing hands and crystal therapy too, all for $500. So she wrote me out a check. I think it was like $565 because there was something else that she came to pay for a retreat that I had put on. So altogether it came out to like $565. So when she left, I had the check in hand, and I recall the person who in the beginning was throwing in the towel, telling me that it wasn't going to work out, we weren't going to have the money. And in the end, I was the one throwing in the towel saying, oh, we're not going to have the money. And he's like, yes, we will. Yes, we will. Don't think like that. Think positive. And there we were. We had the money. We paid the bills that we needed to pay, and we had enough money to pay the $500 that he needed. So, it worked. So that's all I'm trying to tell you. The moral to the story or whatever. Just know, once you put it in your head and you put it out there to the universe, it's going to happen. It might be down to the very last wire, just like in this instance. It was down to the very last wire. That day he had to have that money. But it's going to work out. Just visualize it and trust. I talk a lot about trust and faith, and that's what you're going to have. But with this card being like it is, this is telling me that also, and again, I realize that we're going into retrograde, so we can be very moody, very agitated, very anxious, have anxiety, that will bring it on. And so that's what this Queen of Pentacles is telling me, that you're going to be feeling some sort of anxiety and anxiousness and just bitchy. And I'm with a Mercury retrograde, I'm just telling you, just really try to ground yourself. And there's a lot of things in this newsletter to help you through this retrograde, because I'm telling you, it's a tough one. It's a real tough one this year. So we have the Three of Wands as your next card. And this is great because a lot of you, Wands is about work. So a lot of you, especially those of you that have been anxious and concerned about money, there's projects that you're working on, and it's just you're waiting for your ship to come in. It's a waiting game. And the three is always about unity. So there may be things that you're doing with other people, other projects that you're working on, and it's just you're waiting for your ship to come in. And so continue to work, continue to have the faith, continue to believe in yourself, and believe that whatever it is that you're working on, it's gonna come to fruition. But it's going to be on universal timing, not on your timing. And so this is where the rabbit here, he's just sitting there looking at his watch, and you can sit and look at your watch or count the days or whatever, but don't punish yourself with that, because you've got to be moving on to be doing other things as well. I know, like for me, I always have a lot of I have fingers in so many different pies. So I'll be working on one project, and I put a lot of time into one project, and it just doesn't seem to be moving. But so I'll leave it alone for a little while, and I'll go on to another project. Well, the project that I had been really putting a lot of time into, all of a sudden it's really starting to have progress, and it's moving. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you have multiple things going on, just when you're ready to move on to the next thing, just move on. Whatever it was you were working on, if you're not quite finished with a project or whatever, while you're working on something else, you're going to get ideas of how to work on that first project you were working on. And it's just a matter of time before it all comes together. So these are actually good cards. Like I said, I've given you so much information and tools on how to work through this Mercury retrograde. And I know a very dear friend of mine, every time we'd be going through retrograde, he'd be able to tell it. So if you're having problems with the computers or you're anything electrical, your X's are popping up or past people or whatever. I mean, and in this card right here, it's showing, yeah, you're beyond that. You've done what you needed to do. You learned the lesson. You're ready to go. So just move on. So just, really try to stay grounded. That's the most important thing that I can tell you during this retrograde. Stay grounded and stay away from big crowds if you can, and spend more time meditating. So I hope you have a really great week. If you're in Charleston, we have tarot on Mondays and past life on Fridays. And then on Saturdays, we have healing hands and crystal therapy. People are really loving that too. And I'm meeting a lot of new people that are starting to come to me. And thank you so much for supporting what I do. And I see so much growth in so many of you. And it's exciting. I have a couple of clients that I enjoy spending time with them because I'm watching them grow. So it's amazing the transitions that they're making, and I'm having a lot of fun with this. So also we have some really great things coming up. A lot of you have said that you want to learn how to read tarot. Well, guess what? One of the best tarot readers here in Charleston is going to be giving classes on that here at Esoteric Society, Mr. James Hyde Mitchell. And so every Sunday starting September 1st, which is on a Sunday, we're going to do it for the first month of September, every Sunday from 4 to 6, and see how it goes. If we feel like it's progressing and we need to, we can do it every Sunday throughout months or whatever, that's fine. We're just gonna do it for a month like this and see what happens. Also, we've got full moon ritual coming up. I think that's on the 16th, which is a Tuesday. Shaman Jimmy and seer healer Lisa Tootin, they're a married couple. If you were here last full moon ritual, you were blessed. I was blessed. So that's a really great time to be able to meet these two fabulous people, because it's really hard to get them. I feel really blessed to get them when I can. So they have so much insight and such powerful people. So they will be here, and we'll be doing a little drumming, we'll be doing ritual, and of course Lisa and I will be doing healing hands, and Lisa is just, she's dynamic. Anyway, so we have that, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else coming up. I mean, yeah, no, not that I can think of right now. We do have a meet and greet with James. A lot of you already know, and a lot of you have already planned to come and meet him on July 26th, which is a Friday. I think it's from 7 to 8:30, so that you can meet him and learn about him and find out what his modalities are. He's so gifted. And then he's going to be doing tarot readings here on Mondays, August 5th and August 19th. And it's going to be the same sort of setup like I always do. It's going to be tea and tarot, and it's going to be a love offering. So I know that for many of you, you've already booked up for that. And James is going to be very pleased. But yeah, so we have some exciting things going on. And let's keep our fingers crossed, because I was just talking to somebody yesterday. As the weather gets a little cooler, I have this really unique fire pit, a homemade fire pit in my huge backyard. And we're hoping to get Dr. Lee Irwin out here to give one of his seminars or whatever. And if you don't know who he is, I was telling somebody yesterday about him. But let's not, just keep your fingers crossed. I know he's easy to contact. He's an awesome man. But when that happens, I'll let you know more about it. But just keep your fingers crossed that we can get him to come hang out around the fire pit with us and talk to us. But in the meantime, have a great week and just stay grounded, okay? And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.